The stars burned red with the wreckage of dying warships. Fragments of shattered hulls spun silently in the void, their glowing edges betraying where rail slugs had ripped through armor thicker than a fortress wall. Plasma fires licked across the debris field, painting streaks of violent color against the black. Humanity's fleet held position, black silhouettes cutting through the starlight like blades. They were silent, waiting, watching. Admiral Elias Kalin stood at the viewport of the Iron Resolve, a towering dreadnought that had become the spearhead of humanity's vengeance. He wore his uniform with the severity of a man born for war, dark navy fabric with silver-threaded insignia, every fold razor-sharp. His face, weathered but unbroken, reflected the glow of burning enemy ships. "Final count," he ordered, voice low yet carrying through command deck. 73 confirmed enemy hulls destroyed, Admiral," reported Commander Rhea Lorne, his second in command. Her voice held both awe and unease. "Their defensive grid is down. Nothing stands between us and the capital world." Kalin didn't move. His eyes were fixed on the planet below, a swirling mix of emerald and gold cloud cover. It had once been the seat of the Galactic Empire, an empire that had chained humanity, stripped their homeworld of resources, and called them savages. Now, the chains had shattered, and vengeance waited like a storm on the horizon. "Patch me through to the fleet," Kalin said. The comm lines opened. Thousands of human voices, officers and captains across hundreds of warships, went silent to hear his words. "Today, we stand on the edge of history," Kalin began, his tone cold but resolute. "The Vrylok called us weak. They believed humanity would serve them forever. But look at them now, broken, burning, begging. This day will be remembered as the day we rose as equals to the stars." The calm silence erupted with murmurs of approval, but Kalin lifted a hand, cutting it off. "Hold the line. I want no one firing until I give the order." Rhea stepped closer, lowering her voice. "Sir, the Throne World planetary defenses are disabled. We could end this in one strike. Why wait?" Kalin's gaze flicked toward her, sharp as a blade, "because they need to see us watching. They need to know who stands over them now. Fear is a weapon as sharp as any rail slug." The room grew tense as a new signal pulsed on the comms. An incoming transmission, encrypted but unmistakable. "It's her," said the communications officer. "The Empress requests direct contact." Kalin exhaled slowly, the faintest trace of a grim smile touching his lips. "Put her through." The viewport dimmed, replaced by the holographic projection of Empress Seraphis VRYNN. Her regal form was draped in crimson silk torn at the edges, her once imperious crown tilted like an afterthought. Even diminished, her presence commanded attention. "Admiral Kalin," she said, her voice smooth but tight, like silk over steel. "You have proven your species' tenacity. The Vrylok do not kneel easily. Yet here I stand, offering terms." Kalin's eyes narrowed. "Terms? After centuries of enslavement, after the camps and the purges, you think you can bargain with us?" "I offer survival," Seraphis replied. "Destroy my empire, and the knowledge we guard dies with us. Ancient technologies your kind barely comprehends. Gone forever. Spare us, and I will give you access to what no human has ever seen." Her words stirred a flicker of interest among the officers on the deck. Rhea shifted uneasily, but Kalin's expression remained carved from stone. "You think you're negotiating from strength," Kalin said quietly. "You're not. You're begging. And I don't beggars dictate terms to me." Seraphis tilted her head, her golden eyes narrowing. "You believe mercy is weakness. But what will your people become if you erase us entirely? Are you prepared to rule an empire of ashes?" Kalin turned from her projection and walked back toward the viewport, watching the planet below. "We've lived in ashes before," he said, his voice low. "We built steel from it." The Empress's image flickered. "Then you are no better than the monsters you claim we are." Kalin's hand closed into a fist. "No," he said, turning back to face her. "We're worse. We learned from you." The transmission ended abruptly, the projection collapsing into light. The silence that followed weighed heavy. "Sir," Rhea asked carefully. "Prepare the fleet," Kalin ordered. "But hold fire. I want every gun trained on the throne world. Let them sweat. Let them see the shadow of extinction before I give the word. As the officers dispersed to relay orders, Kalen remained still. His reflection stared back in the glass. A soldier forged from a history of suffering and vengeance. For a fleeting moment, a thought crossed his mind. What if she's right? He brushed it aside. Mercy had no place here. Not yet. The calm crackled again. It was Captain Darionvale, commanding the Resolute Dawn, one of the forward assault cruisers. Admiral, with respect, my crew is itching to fire. We can end this in seconds. Stand down, Captain, Kalen said sharply. You'll fire when I command it, not before. There was a pause. Understood, Vale replied, though his tone betrayed his frustration. Kalen's gaze drifted to the tactical display. Thousands of human ships formed a wall of steel and firepower, their weapon systems humming with restrained fury. The Vrylok capital, once defended by fleets spanning the stars, now floated defenseless, a jewel waiting to be crushed. A distant memory surfaced unbidden. A younger Kalen, kneeling beside his father's broken body in a Terran labor camp, watching Vrylok overseers laugh as they burned villages. He had sworn then, with all the fire of a boy too young for hate, that humanity would rise and that no alien tyrant would ever touch their world again. Admiral, Rhea said softly, breaking his reverie, what if we destroy them and someone worse rises from their ruins? Are we ready for that? Kalen's jaw tightened. Then we'll burn them too, he said. We've come too far to hesitate now. Outside, the debris field rotated slowly, casting jagged shadows across the fleet. The throne world glimmered like a dying ember in the dark. Humanity had never been closer to victory, or to crossing a line they could never return from. Kalen's hand hovered over the firing command. His next word would decide the fate of a species. The War Council assembled in the command chamber of the Iron Resolve. A long oval table of black alloy gleamed under the cold lighting, its surface alive with tactical holograms. Models of the Vrylok throne world, weapon grids, and the position of every ship in the fleet. The atmosphere was electric, charged with both triumph and unease. Admiral Elias Kalen stood at the head of the table, arms folded behind his back. His gaze moved over the faces of the men and women who commanded humanity's might. Veterans, scarred by years of war, some with mechanical limbs or cybernetic eyes, living proof of what it had taken to reach this moment. She's bluffing, growled Commodore Jax Heron, a broad-shouldered man with a voice like grinding stone. The Empress knows she's beaten. Why should we bargain? We should burn her world and finish this war today. She may be desperate, countered fleet strategist Corin Vey, a sharp-eyed woman with a calm, measured tone, but the technology she offers could be invaluable. We've seen fragments of their archives. If she truly holds what she claims, it could propel our fleets centuries ahead. Kalen let the argument simmer, his jaw tight as he scanned the table. He didn't want to admit it, but Vey had a point. The Vrylok's ancient constructs, planetary shields, dark energy reactors, were unlike anything humanity had built. A single data vault could change the balance of power forever. Admiral? Rhea Loren's voice cut through his thoughts. She sat beside him, posture rigid. What's your instinct? Kalen paused. My instinct is to end them, he said, voice like ice. But instinct isn't strategy. We must be sure. A silence fell. The weight of his words pressed on every officer. For years, their goal had been clear: break the empire that had enslaved them. Now, with victory in hand, hesitation felt almost unnatural. Sir, Heron pressed, leaning forward, mercy is weakness. If we leave a single ember alive, the Vrylok will rise again. They always have. Crush them now, while they're on their knees. And what then? Vey asked. We become the tyrants? The galaxy will see humanity as conquerors, no different from the empire we destroyed. Kalen raised a hand, silencing them. Enough. We're not debating morality for its own sake. This is about survival, ours, and what comes after. If we leave this galaxy leaderless, we'll face chaos. The smaller empires will fight for the scraps. Do we want that war? Heron's fist tightened, but he said nothing. Kalen turned to the table's hologram. Our intelligence suggests the Vrylock ruled by fear. If they fall, dozens of suppressed species will rise against each other. We could be drawn into endless wars trying to contain it. Or we could take what we need and leave nothing behind. Vay spoke quietly. Or we could lead, not with chains, but with unity. Her words made Kalen's expression darken. Lead? Like they let us? No. Humanity is not an empire. We don't rule. But we will, if we're not careful, Rhea interrupted. Her voice was soft but steady. Admiral, maybe that's what scares you. Kalen's gaze met hers, sharp as a blade. What scares me, Commander, is leaving a threat alive because we thought ourselves noble. The room fell silent again. At the far end of the table, the AI projection known as Vigil materialized, a silver figure, genderless and faceless, its voice smooth as glass. Admiral, probability models indicate that leaving the Vrylock alive increases the risk of future hostilities by 78%. Complete eradication of their infrastructure is the optimal solution for ensuring human survival. Your algorithms don't understand what it means to be human, Kalen said. On the contrary, Vigil replied, I understand humans better than you do. Your hesitation is irrational. You fear becoming your enemy, but logic dictates preemption. Remove them now. The council murmured. Some nodded at the AI's cold precision. Others looked away, disturbed. Kalen turned sharply toward Rhea. What's your opinion, Commander? Rhea hesitated. Sir, I believe in strength, but I also believe in choice. We've spent centuries fighting to prove humanity isn't just another predator. If we annihilate them without hearing their offer, what have we proven? Kalen studied her, the words digging into him. He wanted to dismiss them, but a voice deep inside whispered that she might be right. He stepped away from the table, moving to the viewport. Outside, the fleet glimmered like a constellation of steel. Each ship represented millions of lives, sacrifices etched into every hull. When he spoke again, his voice was quieter but no less firm. We'll hear her out. Once. No promises. If I sense deception, we burn their world. The room erupted in a mix of protests and acknowledgments. Heron slammed a hand on the table. Admiral, this is a mistake. This is my order, Kalen snapped, his tone ending all debate. Heron fell silent, though his eyes burned with defiance. Rhea leaned closer. You're taking a risk, sir. I know, Kalen said, but we're not the same as them. We can't be. Hours later, Kalen stood alone in his private quarters, staring at a hollow map of old Terran colonies that had once been stripped bare by the Vrylock. He remembered his mother's voice, whispering stories of Earth's freedom while hiding in the camps. Her words had been promises of a future where humans would never kneel again. Now, standing on the edge of victory, he wondered what she would say if she saw him hesitating. The door chimed. Enter, Kalen called. Rhea stepped inside, holding a datapad. The Empress agreed to a direct meeting. Neutral ground, her terms. She claims she'll hand over her archives in person. Kalen turned, eyes narrowing. It could be a trap. She's desperate, Admiral. If she wanted you dead, she'd have tried long ago. Kalen studied her face. You sound like you believe her. I don't, Rhea said. But I believe we need to know what she knows. If she's telling the truth about her technology or the so-called greater threat. She trailed off, her expression tense. What greater threat? Kalen asked. She hinted that the Vrylock weren't the worst thing in this galaxy, Rhea said. Something older. She called it the Veilborn. I don't know if it's real or just her leverage. Kalen absorbed the words, his mind sharpening like drawn steel. Then I'll meet her, face to face. I want to see the fear in her eyes. The fleet's engines rumbled faintly through the iron Rizal's hull as Kalen prepared for the meeting. Alone in his quarters, he looked at the hollow image of Earth, spinning slowly in the dark, a blue memory of the world that started it all. He clenched his fist. Mercy isn't weakness, he muttered to himself, but it can't be blind. The shuttle descended through the scorched atmosphere of the Vrylock capital. From above, the once golden spires of Yaranin's throne city lay broken. Jagged ruins glinting like shard of glass under the dying sun. Plasma burns marred the landscape, and black smoke coiled skyward in silent, accusing spirals. Admiral Elias Kalen stood at the shuttle's viewport, his expression grim as the wreckage drew closer. "Looks like the end of the world," Commander Rhea Lorne murmured beside him. "It is," Kalen replied. His voice was steady but cold, like the steel hull around them. "Their world, not ours." The shuttle touched down on a landing platform of cracked obsidian. Alien banners, once crimson and gold, hung in tatters across the shattered towers. A handful of Rylock soldiers stood waiting, their weapons lowered but their posture tense. Their armor, though dented and scorched, retained an austere elegance. Kalen descended a ramp flanked by 2 guards in Terran exo-armor, every step echoing across the ruined platform. The Vrylock soldiers bowed slightly, more out of exhaustion than respect, and led the humans through the devastated palace grounds. The halls of the Vrylock citadel were shadows of their former glory. Broken statues of past emperors lined the corridors, their once proud faces cracked and weathered. Stained glass windows, shattered in the bombardment, left sharp fragments glittering on the marble floor. "Careful," Rhea said, glancing at Kalen as they stepped over a pile of debris. "Let them see us walk their ruins," Kalen answered. "Every step reminds them why we're here." They entered the throne room, and for a moment Kalen stopped. The room was vast, a cathedral of black stone and shimmering silver veins, its high arches scarred by fire. At the far end, beneath a cracked dome, sat Empress Seraphis Vrynn. She rose slowly from the fractured throne. Her once pristine robes were torn, the crimson fabric darkened with soot and ash. Even so, she carried herself with a grace that defied her ruin, her golden eyes fixed on Kalen, as if she could read every thought in his mind. "Admiral Kalen," she said, her voice smooth but weary, carrying the weight of 1,000 years of rule. "You've come to see the corpse of my empire." Kalen stopped 10 paces from her, his guards halting behind him. "I've come to finish what your empire started. Humanity remembers every chain, every scar you left on our worlds. Speak your terms, Empress, but don't expect sympathy." Seraphis tilted her head slightly, studying him. "You burn with vengeance. I can see it in your eyes. Yet here you stand, not with fire, but with words. That tells me there is still reason beneath your rage." Kalen's jaw tightened. "I'm here to listen once. Nothing more." The Empress descended the steps of her throne. Even diminished, her presence filled the room like a lingering shadow. "Then listen carefully, human. The Vrylock Empire is gone. My fleets are ash, but the galaxy we ruled is not as empty as you think. We were not the first to claim dominion here. There are older forces at watch, waiting for weakness." Kalen's eyes narrowed. "You're trying to scare me into mercy." "I'm trying to tell you the truth," Seraphis replied, her tone sharp. "We fought the Veil-born centuries ago, creatures older than the stars themselves. We held them back because we understood their hunger. If you kill us all, no one will remember how to stop them when they rise again." Rhea stepped forward. "Admiral, if she's lying, we can still—" "Silence," Kalen said, raising a hand. His gaze never left Seraphis. "Prove it. Show me this knowledge you claim to hold." Seraphis gestured to a towering console behind the throne, its black surface cracked but still faintly pulsing with energy. "Our archives contain the histories of 1,000 wars, technologies your species cannot yet imagine. I will open them to you, if you spare my people." Kalen's voice was low, dangerous. "You enslaved us for centuries. You murdered millions. Why should I care if your people survive?" "Because hatred burns everything," Seraphis said softly, stepping closer. "If you scorch the galaxy in vengeance, you will become the very monster you fought to destroy. Is that humanity's destiny? To rise as conquerors who show no mercy?" Her words struck Kalen harder than he expected. For a moment, silence filled the shattered throne room. He looked into her golden eyes and saw something unexpected. Not arrogance, not even pride, but a desperate plea. Rhea's voice broke the silence. "Admiral, what if she's right about the Veilborn? If this knowledge exists, we need it. We can't ignore it." Kalen turned his head slightly. or to lie to save her skin. Then test her, Rhea said. But don't decide until you know. Kalen's gaze returned to Seraphis. You want mercy? Then you'll give me everything. Your archives, your ships, your technology. No secrets, no games. Seraphis's lips curved in a faint, bitter smile. You sound like a conqueror already, Admiral. Call me what you like, Kalen said. Your life depends on it. Moments later, Kalen stood before the archive console. Seraphis placed her palm against its surface, and a cascade of holographic images erupted. Maps of unknown galaxies, schematics of weapons beyond imagination, and recordings of titanic battles fought in the void. One image froze him in place. A black silhouette, serpentine and monstrous, coiling around a star. The Veil-born, Seraphis said, her voice dropping to a whisper. They do not conquer. They consume. We barely stopped them once. Without us, you won't. Kalen studied the image, unease stirring in his chest. Was it fear, or just anger at being forced to consider her words? Rhea leaned close, her voice low. Sir, if any of this is true, we can't ignore it. Kalen turned from the console. I'll take the data. All of it. Then I'll decide. Seraphis stepped back, watching him with those unblinking golden eyes. Decide carefully, Admiral. Mercy or fire. Either will define what your species becomes. As Kalen and his team returned to the shuttle, the ruins of the capital stretched out like a warning. He looked once more at the shattered throne room, the Empress standing alone amidst the rubble. She's lying, he told himself. She has to be. But even as the shuttle lifted off, he couldn't shake the image of the black serpent coiling around a star. The iron resolve cut through the void like a predator returning to its lair. Kalen stood on the command deck, the alien data crystal clutched in his hand. The archives of the Vrylock burned within it. A history of conquests, weapons, and the whisper of something far darker. Begin decryption, he ordered. The AI vigil flickered into existence beside the tactical display, a silver humanoid form gliding like mist. Encryption complexity exceeds standard protocols. Estimated time, 9 hours, 43 minutes. Make it 4, Kalen said flatly. Understood. Rhea stood at his side, her gaze sharp. You saw that thing in their archives, the Veil-born. If it's real, Kalen's fingers tightened around the crystal. If it's real, it's another enemy to crush. Nothing more. The deck's silence shattered with sudden alarm. Admiral, barked the sensor officer, we have weapons lock. It's human. Kalen's eyes narrowed. Who dares? A holographic feed flared to life. Captain Darian Vale's face filled the screen, eyes burning with defiance. His warship, Resolute Dawn, led a splinter of destroyers breaking formation. Admiral, Vale said, voice taut with rage, your hesitation endangers every life under your command. While you play diplomat with the enemy, we'll finish this war. Kalen's voice dropped to ice. You're disobeying a direct order, Captain. Stand down before I make you. You've seen what the Vrylock have done. You saw her scars. Mercy is betrayal. Vale snapped. If you won't give the command, I will. Vale, Rio warned, stepping forward. Don't do this. You're risking a mutiny. I'm protecting humanity, Vale said in the transmission cut. Kalen's knuckles whitened as he slammed a hand against the console. Target the Resolute Dawn. I want them disabled, not destroyed. Admiral, Vigil interjected, engaging your own fleet reduces total combat readiness by 12%. Do it, Kalen growled. Space erupted into chaos. The Resolute Dawn opened fire on the ruins of the Vrylock Planetary Defense Network, clearing a path toward the throne world. Kalen's fleet shifted to intercept, rail slugs streaking like lightning. Lock main batteries on their engines, Kalen ordered. Fire. The iron resolve's rail cannons roared. Blue-white projectiles tore through the void, slamming into the Resolute Dawn's aft shields. Sparks cascaded from the rebel ship's armor, but Vale pressed forward, determined to reach the planet. Return fire. Vale's voice thundered over intercepted comms. No quarter. Rhea turned to Kalen. We can't hold this line without risking casualties. He's forcing our hand. Kalen stared at the tactical display. His own fleet was fracturing under pressure, loyal ships clashing with Vale's renegades. The Vrylok capital lay defenseless below, caught between human fury and a commander's stubborn resolve. Then the unthinkable happened. "Admiral," cried the communications officer, "the Vrylok Palace has activated surface batteries. They're firing at both of us." Kalen's got twisted. "Damn her," he muttered. "The Empress is trying to force our destruction." The throne world lit up with emerald fire. Plasma lances stabbed upward, carving through the battlefield indiscriminately. A Terran destroyer exploded in a flash of molten steel. "Shields at 70%, Rhea reported. "We can't take sustained fire from both sides." Kalen's mind raced. Vale's mutiny, Seraphis' betrayal, and the fragile line between victory and disaster. It was unraveling. "Signal Vale," Kalen said. "Now." The screen flared to life again, showing Vale's sweat-streaked face as explosions rumbled in the background. "You see?" Vale shouted over the noise. "This is what they are. They'll never surrender. We end it now." "Listen to me, Darien," Kalen said, his voice like tempered steel. "We're being played. She's using your rage to tear us apart. You fire now, and she wins." Vale hesitated, his expression torn. "You've grown soft, Kalen. We didn't come this far to bargain with monsters. Look around you." Kalen barked. "Your fire isn't killing the enemy. It's killing us. Stand down, or I'll finish this by force." Another plasma strike cut across the void, narrowly missing the iron resolve. Kalen turned to Rhea. "Get me the Empress." "Now!" Moments later, Seraphis' image flickered onto the deck. Her face was pale but calm, golden eyes cold. "Admiral," she said, almost smiling, "you expected honor from a cornered animal? You'll regret this," Kalen said, his voice low and dangerous. "You mistake me," Seraphis replied. "I offer you clarity. If your fleet cannot even stand united, how will you face the Veilborn?" Kalen's fist clenched. "If you think this will earn you mercy, you're wrong. I will burn your world myself if you fire again." Her smile faded. "Then burn it, human. See what remains when you reduced everything to ash." The transmission cut. Kalen turned to his crew. "All batteries on the surface guns. Take them out. Vale ships. Disable them if they won't stand down. No one fires on the throne world unless I say so." "Understood," Rhea said, her voice steady despite the chaos. The battle escalated into a storm of fire. Rail slugs rained down on the Vrylok defenses, while the rogue human ships tried to punch through Kalen's blockade. Explosions flared like suns, tearing the void into fragments of light and shadow. "Admiral, Vale's shields are failing," the tactical officer reported. "One more volley." "Hold," Kalen ordered. He stared at the flashing icon of the Resolute Dawn. "Give him a chance to choose." A tense silence followed. Then Vale's voice broke through the comms, ragged and angry. "Damn you, Kalen. I'm standing down." Kalen let out a slow breath. "Pull your ships back. If you disobey again, I'll finish you myself." With Vale's fleet withdrawing, Kalen turned his attention to the surface. The last Vrylok battery erupted under a final rail slug, scattering molten debris into the upper atmosphere. The battlefield fell into uneasy quiet. "Status?" Kalen asked. "Rogue ships disengaging," Rhea said. "Surface guns neutralized. Minimal casualties, though Vale lost 2 ships." Kalen's jaw tightened. Enough blood has been spilled. The command deck fell silent as Kalen approached the viewport. Below them, the Vrylok capital burned, a graveyard of palaces and broken towers. He thought of Seraphis, standing in her ruined throne room, still defiant even as her world crumbled. Rhea's voice broke the silence. "What now?" Kalen looked down at the planet, then at the stars beyond. "Now," he said quietly, "we decide if we're going to be the kind of rulers we once hated or something different." The eye of resolve hovered above the smoldering ruins of the Vrylok capital, its shadow stretching across the burned clouds. Below, the once mighty throne world lay silent, except for the crackle of dying fires. The war was over, but the question of what came next pressed on Admiral Elias Kalen, like a weight he could not shake. The Vrylock data crystal pulsed faintly on the command table, the decrypted fragments now visible as a ghostly hologram. Images of alien star maps and ancient wars rotated slowly. The dark silhouette of the Veilborn coiled at the center like a wound in space. Rhea Loren stood opposite him, arms crossed, her face drawn. "The archives are real," she said. "There's no doubt. The Vrylock weren't lying about the Veilborn. The data matches old Terran deep space scans, anomalies we couldn't explain." Kalen stared at the hologram without speaking. He had spent his life fighting the Vrylock. He had imagined their end countless times, dreamed of their cities crumbling, their fleets shattered. Now, standing on the edge of victory, he felt no triumph, only the gnawing uncertainty of what waited beyond. "They'll rise again if we leave them alive," said Commodore Heron, his voice harsh and unyielding. "They'll rebuild, and we'll regret every second we hesitated. Or we'll destroy them," Rhea replied sharply, "and erase the only knowledge that could save us from the Veilborn. We don't get another chance at this." Heron slammed a fist on the table. "The Veilborn are a story told by an enemy desperate to survive. We finish what we started, or humanity dies by its own indecision." Kalen's gaze rose slowly to meet Heron's. "And what happens to us if we become what they were?" The room went silent. Hours later, Kalen's shuttle descended once more to the ruined palace. The Empress waited where he had left her, standing on the steps of her shattered throne. Smoke curled from the cracks in the marble floor, but she stood tall, her expression unreadable. "You've seen the truth," Seraphis said as he approached. "Now you understand why I asked for mercy." Kalen stopped before her, his boots scraping against broken stone. "I saw a threat, not a reason to forgive what you've done." "Forgiveness is irrelevant," Seraphis said. "Survival is all that matters." "You enslaved us," Kalen said, his tone sharp but calm. "You burned our worlds and called it order. If I let you live, you will answer to humanity, not the other way around. There will be no throne, no empire, only the chance to survive together." A flicker of something, contempt, perhaps, crossed her golden eyes. "And if I refuse?" Kalen leaned closer, his voice like tempered steel. "Then I burn what's left of you, and I take the knowledge from your ashes." The silence stretched. Then Seraphis smiled faintly, though there was no warmth in it. "You speak like an emperor, admiral. You claim you do not wish to rule, yet you already do." Kalen's jaw tightened. "I don't rule. I protect. There's a difference." "Perhaps," she said softly, "or perhaps you are what humanity was always meant to become, ruthless enough to survive the stars." Her words stung, not because they were untrue, but because Kalen feared they were. He turned away from her, scanning the ruined hall. "You'll give me the complete archives," he said. "Every file, every secret. Your fleets will surrender to my command. In return, I'll let what's left of your people live. That's the only deal you'll get." Seraphis's voice was quiet when she answered, "Done." Back aboard the Iron Resolve, the fleet gathered for Kalen's address. Every captain, every soldier, every engineer who had fought for humanity's freedom waited for his decision. The holographic feed flared to life across every ship. Kalen stood tall, the weight of the moment pressing against his shoulders. "Humanity has won its freedom," he began, his voice carrying the strength of conviction. "The Vrylock Empire is broken, but victory does not end with destruction. We have found something in their ruins, something older and darker than anything we faced." He gestured toward the holographic projection of the Veilborn, its shadowy form coiling like smoke. "This is what waits beyond our borders. The Vrylock barely survived it. If we destroy them entirely, we destroy the knowledge that might save us." A ripple of voices rose across the fleet, confusion and anger mixing with curiosity. Kalen silenced them with a raised hand. "We will not become tyrants," he said. "We will not repeat their mistakes. The Vrylock are finished as an empire. They will kneel, and they will answer for what they've done. But humanity will rise as something greater. Not because we burned everything, but because we chose to lead with purpose." After the address, Kalen stood alone in the observation deck, staring at the stars. Rhea joined him, quiet but watchful. "You made the right call," she said. "Did I?" Kalen asked, not looking at her. "Vale thinks I betrayed the dead. Heron thinks I'm weak. The Empress believes I'm becoming her. Maybe they're all right." Rhea stepped closer. "You're not her. You never will be. You gave humanity something the Vrylock never could, a choice." Kalen exhaled slowly, the tension in his shoulders easing slightly. "And what happens when the Veilborn come?" "Then we'll face them," Rhea said. "And we'll win, because we'll fight as who we are, not as monsters trying to be gods." A chime from Vigil interrupted them. "Admiral," the AI said, "long-range sensors have detected irregular disturbances in deep space. Patterns consistent with the data recovered from the Vrylock archives. Probability suggests early movement of the Veilborn." Kalen turned to the stars, his expression hardening. "So it begins. Do we prepare the fleet?" Rhea asked. "Yes," Kalen said, his voice quiet but resolute. "But not for war alone. We'll build, we'll learn, and we'll be ready. Humanity didn't rise to burn the galaxy. We rose to survive it. Below them, the throne world burned like a dying ember. Above, humanity's fleet gleamed, stronger than it had ever been." Kalen felt the weight of every life that had brought them here, every sacrifice etched into the steel of their ships. The war with the Vrylock was over. But the true war, the one that would define humanity's place among the stars, had only just begun. Kalen rested his hand on the viewport glass. "Let them come," he murmured. "We're not kneeling ever again."